Hello everyone and welcome to a special presentation of Boater Plays Something. Today is April 7th, 2019, and it has been 5 years since the very first episode of Boater Plays Something was uploaded. My friend Panzer at one point did a test of a device called the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable, AverMedia LGP. That she did is just kind of testing gameplay, being able to capture footage, and I at the time was thinking about perhaps doing Let's Plays. So I got in contact with her and she decided not to keep her unit, so I got that from her. This is actually the same unit right here. It allows you to pop an SD card into it right here, HDMI in, HDMI out to the TV, and I was able to record gameplay for the first time. My PC really couldn't do it well, not without skipping a lot of frames, so I was able to record gameplay. Before I settled into a series, I decided I would start with a one-shot, and that was Forza Motorsport 4. And to celebrate 5 years since the upload of Boater Plays Something, Forza Motorsport 4, I wanted to go over how the intros have evolved. They've come a long way since what you just saw. It started with just, hey, what kind of seems cool? I picked a piece of music that I liked, and that's from the introduction of Descent 2, which, yes, did end up getting a mini-series later on. But the introduction in Forza was always kind of a placeholder. There was pending cool graphic. There was Yahtzee had done illustrations for Zero Punctuation where you could see whether he's playing a console game or a PC game or something. You kind of get a sense of that. I was like, well, maybe we'll do that, or maybe we'll get a logo. I wasn't really sure. And that green was always kind of temporary too. It was just, it was there. Unfortunately, pending cool graphics stuck around for a lot longer than I expected it to, including the entirety of the first full series that I did, Mini Ninjas. Mini Ninjas uses the same introduction style. It goes with the pending cool graphic, and then Boater Plays Something coming up in the corner, then the name of the game, and then the logo of the game, which ends up usually just being a repeat of the name. And when it was uploaded to YouTube, I didn't do custom title slides. I just went with whatever it auto-generated. Maybe I would pick from the best of one of the three. Very rarely would I actually go and export a thumbnail, or again, what I call the title slide for the series. But this was still kind of early on, and Mini Ninjas ran during 2014, and I'm not quite sure when it wrapped up. I have the start dates here for everything. Mini Ninjas premiered April 28th, 2014. So just later on in the month after Forza was, hey, this is a success. This is something that I can reasonably do. And so there was Mini Ninjas. And again, mostly standard as far as the introduction and such. But when it came to the next series, I decided to have some fun.
Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to Boater Plays Something. Today we're going to be playing Descent Free Space. This is a space play sim from 1998 by Volition. And if you want to learn more about the history of the game, the franchise, where it stands now, and why it's one of my favorite games of all time, then after a few episodes, once we've got the ball rolling, I will be out of uniform up in the tech room. You can join me and we can talk more about it. If you want to see the entire playlist of Boater Plays Something Descent Free Space, then this man here at the information desk will be able to help you out. He'll give you a link to the entire playlist. Otherwise, if you're ready, grab your flight suit, follow me into the briefing room, let's play something.
Descent Free Space was me doing more with the format. Before, with Mini Ninjas, I just kind of plopped my face on there and off we went. With Free Space, I really had a lot of fun with it. There was the first introduction that you saw there, which I just kind of filmed in my garage against an off-green bedsheet to green screen myself into place. And over the course of Free Space, I ended up recording 3 more intros. As you go through the game, the main menu of the game changes, whether you're on the Galatée, you're on the Bastion for a couple of missions, then you go back to the Galatée, then after it's destroyed, spoilers, you go back to the Bastion, and each time I recorded a new introduction. Hey everyone, welcome back to Boater Plays Something. Today we're playing Descent Free Space, a space sim from 1998. We're currently on temporary assignment with the GTD Bastion, on leave from the Galatée as it's getting repaired. If you're interested in learning more about the game, how I'm playing it, and just hearing me talk about one of my favorite games, then I will be in the tech room after the mission, out of uniform and just babbling my head off about it. If you want to watch the entire playlist of Boater Plays Something Descent Free Space, then down in the hangar floor down there, that man at the information desk will be able to give you a hand getting you the link to the entire playlist. Otherwise, if you're ready to go, grab your flight suit, let's head into the briefing room, and let's play something. I also played around a lot with where I put the face cam and how I worked with that. So during an actual mission, like you can kind of see over here, I made myself kind of translucent and amber to match up with whenever there was someone talking on screen. During mission briefings, I would move to a different spot and I would be in full color. During any time I was in the tech room, it would be a different kind of thing. When there was a cutscene, I would move it somewhere else. So that got really involved, and that also started when I started making notes for myself. I made publishing notes so that, number one, I knew where exactly I was moving the camera, what scale the camera was at, and it also included notes for annotations. As you may have noticed, those introductions that you've seen so far, which I'm going to show the third one in just a moment, said, hey, you can go here and do this, because at the time, YouTube had annotations. Hey everyone, welcome back to Boater Plays Something. Today we're playing Descent Free Space, a space sim from 1998. We're back on the Galatée, our home ship, and everything's laid out nice and familiar. If you're interested in learning more about the game, how I'm playing it, then you can catch me up in the tech room after the mission. I'll be out of uniform and just generally babbling on about one of my favorite games of all time. If you want to watch the entire playlist of Boater Plays Something Descent Free Space, then that man up there at the information desk will be able to give you a hand. He'll give you the link to the entire playlist so you can watch from the start. Otherwise, if you're ready to go, grab your flight suit, head into the briefing room, and let's play something. YouTube doesn't have annotations anymore, so that interactive clicking around, which I think was a really fun idea that I did in those videos, doesn't really exist anymore. There was also a skip introduction button at the bottom too, which Netflix picked that up off of me, really. Hey everyone, welcome back to Boater Plays Something. Today we're playing Descent Free Space, a space sim from 1998. We're back here on the Bastion after what happened to the Galatée, and you guys know the drill. I can talk about the game in the tech room, how I'm playing it, one of my favorite games of all time, blah blah blah, all of that. If you want to watch the entire playlist from the start and see why I'm getting kind of riled up, then that man there at the information desk will be able to help you out. He'll get you a link to the entire playlist. But quite frankly, I'm just ready to bring the fight back to the sheep, and so grab your flight suit, let's get in the briefing room and let's play something. Those all would go right at the very beginning of an episode of Boater Plays Something Descent Free Space. And there wouldn't be a standard intro. There wasn't the pending cool graphic or anything like that. The name of the episode was just named after the mission. I kind of have gone back and forth on naming episodes as we've gone through. Mini Ninjas did have episode names as well. With Free Space, I just named it after whatever mission it was in, made it easy to find. So if people were looking for, a failure to communicate, they could go straight to this video. This particular video, I died a lot. That's why I chose it. And we continued naming episodes when we moved on to Diablo Hellfire. Diablo Hellfire premiered in March 24th, 2015. Skipping back a bit, Free Space came out November 10th, 2014. So nearly a year after Forza Motorsport 4 came out, Diablo Hellfire started airing. And the intro, as you saw, was basically the same. Pending cool graphic, it's green, it doesn't match the theme at all. I didn't even go with like a darker green or anything. It didn't really occur to me to start playing with the introduction there quite yet. So that's all it is. It's the same introduction, it's just the YouTube generated title slides. Diablo Hellfire is the first game that I played that was in 4x3, so figuring out the actual on-screen stuff was simpler. I didn't have to move the face cam around. It was the 4x3 on one edge of the screen, and then the face cam in one corner. And then I just used the remaining space, filled it in with a bit of animation from the game, and kept track of the quests that I was working on. And that worked really well, just to keep track of that throughout the run of the game. And later that year, as Mini Ninjas was wrapped up, and I think that Free Space started to wrap up, I started another series. And that one is known to most as perhaps the longest running series by time. I'm not quite sure. It's up there, and that is Deus Ex Human Revolution. Deus Ex had a lot of hiatuses, I think more than any other series. There was a break of 8 months where there just wasn't an episode coming out. I've certainly done hiatuses along the way, but it was the most egregious with this one. Deus Ex started with that green pending cool graphic intro, but it did not remain that way, and we'll get to what it changed to shortly. I was not naming episodes of Deus Ex as it came out. It just was episode number, and that's because I started doing custom title slides. And I just did it with the episode numbers as they went by. I would import some stills that I made of just the text for the title, Boater Plays Something, Deus Ex Human Revolution, Episode 1, Episode 2, and so forth, and just lay it over a spot in the video while I was editing in Premiere that I really liked. Export that as a still frame and then use that as the title slide. And that was the first time that I used custom title slides. And the series that started about a year after the first Boater Plays Something upload. After that, I wouldn't go back. It would always be custom title slides whenever possible. In the game itself, I kept my face cam mostly in the same spot, but it would sometimes shift when there was communication up in the corner, and I tinted it yellow to match with the color cast of the entire game. And I think I really like the look of Deus Ex now. You know, going back at it, I like the look of those episodes. I think that they stand out nice. It's a good-looking game, and I think that where I put the face cam complemented it really well. So Deus Ex ran for a long time, and while it was running, as another series wrapped up, I moved on to something that was super silly because I'd been doing serious stuff for a while. I decided to move on to Lollipop Chainsaw. Lollipop Chainsaw was a bit lower effort for me. It was something that I was like, hey, this is fun, this is off the cuff. It was fine if Steph was playing League of Legends off in the background. And with the intro, I decided to take my gradient that I'd done, just the simple color gradient, and turn it into a rainbow, which really fit with the game's style. I also had a little more fun with the title slides there. I would actually export a still frame over to After Effects and then put the text in there. And, you know, do a cutout if it went behind someone's head, something like that. A really dynamic look to those title slides that I still really enjoy to this day. I did go back to naming episodes. Each episode is named after a quote within the game itself. And that includes when my media recorder ended up dropping footage from 3 episodes. So I ended up doing just a recap called, I believe, There's Something Wrong with This Bus, which is, again, a line from the game itself. Now, all of these introductions have been the same format. They've been the green pending cool graphic with the Descent 2 music underneath. When it starts, it just starts, and when it ends, the music trails off underneath. So you've noticed each time it comes back to me that the music keeps going and kind of helps to bridge that together as the introduction part ends. And when I started Fear, First Encounter Assault Recon on October 2nd, 2015, it was doing the same thing. Although I did play with the Fear logo a little bit, having it stick around sort of ominously as the music also faded out. That, however, was not the only introduction to Fear that I have used. Around that time, my friend Mina had made a piece of like fan art, basically of me hiding around a wall with just Alma, the main creepy girl in the game, coming up the hallway. And I asked for that, and I was able to break it up into a couple different elements and animate it, and put a still frame from the episode behind there of my own choosing. So from episode 6 onward, we got this. So what you might have noticed there was that the music comes in first, and we'll show that again in a moment there, but the music starts to ramp up before we actually cut to the introduction. Then the intro animation comes up, it goes away, and the music is still there and kind of peters off. And I'll show that here while I showed that there were a couple of episodes where I actually decided to kind of play around with the color of the elements that I had gotten from Mina as well to make it kind of interactive. I really like the results there. Notice that you're hearing the music now, then we go to the intro. And as we come back, you are still hearing the music on its way out. Fear didn't have episode titles, much like Deus Ex didn't. But its title slides were, instead of like just taking some text and putting them off to the side, the title slides for episodes 6 onward were generated just by taking a specific frame of that intro sequence, always the same frame of each one, just with a different rotating background. The first 5 episodes did have that, they just export some text and throw it on there. But from 6 onward, once we were using that introduction, we were using those for the title slides, the thumbnails as well. And that continued when we moved on to the next series, which is the longest running by number of episodes and also maybe by the dates that it ran. And that is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which debuted on December 5th, 2015. And as we go into the intro, you'll notice that it has just a bit of a jump start of the music, just for about a second or so before we cut away. Here we go. And then as we come back, the music again fades out as we move along. So this is just taken from the soundtrack of the game and then plugged in there. And this is around when I started, preparing the title slides ahead of time. I had worked with Mina where she gave me something that it would start with the blaster and eventually move to Revan's mask, and I asked her to add the lightsaber stuff in the middle. So as we move through the story, the intro changes a little bit. I added in a mission saying the episode number in Roman numerals, of course, which threw episode 30 for a loop, as well as the title of the episode. And of course that got a little more fun when I did the Law and Order episodes. There's a few where you're involved, either you're the arbiter of something or you're on trial. So I decided to recreate the Law and Order introduction and had my friend Brian do the voiceover.
In the galactic criminal justice system, the Jedi are considered the ultimate arbiters of peace throughout the galaxy and soldiers in the war against the Sith army. These are their stories.
And in addition, for these episodes, we of course had a unique style of title slide, as well as actual title sequence, which would show as well. For the next series, we went almost back to standard, but there's a pretty marked difference from green pending cool graphic. Here's the intro for the Stanley Parable, which premiered on March 10th, 2016. A little bit different, huh? Mina had made for me an official Boaterbug logo, which I then pulled colors from. Instead of our green, I took Boaterbug blue, as I call it, and got her logo that she had created for me in there. So we were no longer pending cool graphic, we were actual cool graphic. And I was so excited for that. I didn't want to try to come up with something unique and different for Stanley Parable because I had that style of intro ready to go now. and I was really excited to be able to have it.
Oh no, not you again.
But I still did do custom title slides. I took the style of text and font that is used in Stanley Parable, created 8 slides for Boater Plays Something, the Stanley Parable, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, all spelled out rather than a number. And then on the actual YouTube video itself, I gave them the title of what endings were in the video. The confusion ending, which we've got right here. There was another one like the insanity ending, and so forth. Again, so that much like Descent Free Space, it was easily searchable. People looking for video of the confusion ending could go to it and see it. Now, the Stanley Parable was a short series. It only ran for 8 episodes. After that was the May of Boater, which was a video a day, each day for the month of May. I took a bit of a break in June, and then on July 17th, 2016, I premiered Mirror's Edge Catalyst. This one was a lot of fun because it wasn't a totally different intro like Fear and KOTOR had been. It was kind of back to the standard, but tweaking it and having fun with it. Kind of like how Lollipop Chainsaw changed the background, I did that. I went to red rather than blue, which I think is better than the Lollipop Chainsaw Rainbow, and certainly better than the green that we used to have. And I also changed the music to the theme music. The theme music from the first game. The second game really didn't have recognizable theme music. But we had the music, we had the color. It plays out much the same as the standard intro as far as the order that everything is introduced, but it's a lot more serene, which I really liked, especially as the game kind of got more frustrating. The serenity was a nice touch. Title slides on this one were much like Deus Ex in that it was just the number of the episode with no actual title given. Every episode was just numbered and not fully titled. That was then put onto a still frame from the game itself. And I ended up taking a bit of a hiatus and do it every now and then, just trying to get a grip on everything that's happening. And one of the times that I came back from hiatus, I decided to have a little bit of fun. Yes, I did do the normal Boater Bug intro for Blur, but I did a couple racing games back to back. This was the first one, so I took its intro cinematic, very dramatic. I got slow-mo shots of me getting my gear on and ready to do a Boater Plays Something for what seemed like it had been forever. Then on July 7th, 2017, the one-shot episode of Blur was released. Blur is interesting because it's actually the game that Panzer used way back when she was testing out the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable. So it kind of was fun for me coming back to it as well and using the game that had made me realize that this was a thing, put me in touch with Panzer to get this for me to be able to use as well. So that came out. Split Second came out the week afterward. And then, after I think another week, we started a brand new series with Diablo 2: Lord of Destruction. music for that actually starts as soon as that custom intro comes up on screen, but then, like most, tails off as the video comes back. And that one was not illustrated by Mina, that was illustrated by my sister Jen, who made illustrations of me and my wife Steph playing the classes that we were playing in-game, Necromancer and Amazon, respectively. That, again, those had named episodes, and the title slides would, again, come right from a frame of that introduction title sequence. As the game progressed and moved through each of the 5 acts, I put a different backdrop behind that brick wall look, some from official Blizzard sources and a couple for Acts 2 and 3 from a DeviantArt page that I found and got permission to use them for. Now, by the time Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction premiered, July 25th, 2017, Deus Ex Human Revolution had already finished. However, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic was still going strong. I got into one of my ambitious streaks and had 3 ongoing series as Diablo continued, as KOTOR continued, and on the 1st of January, on New Year's Day 2018, I debuted ReCore. Now there's a bit to unpack with ReCore. Well, first off, as you notice, the music started early and continues afterward, but it is photographic. It was the first one that I decided, hey, let's do an actual photo shoot. So I dressed up as something vaguely approximating what Jewel had, and Dave, who joined me for the entire run of the series, which is still ongoing as this comes out, also just kind of wore the yellow ReCore color, and we got a few different photos that we liked, and I ended up taking one of them and doing a lot of work to it, having it match the pose of the introduction of the game, which the game is obscure enough that it may not exactly read easily that it's trying to match the pose. So that's why on the intro sequence I put them side by side. You see the official cover art as well as our cosplay photographic version. And I really liked doing that photographically. It was a lot of fun to do as a photo shoot and a lot of fun to figure out afterward. I wouldn't do that for everything. Certainly there were more one-shots that came out. I did some tabletop games, including Betrayal at House on the Hill, which I did completely custom intros for. Kind of taking the base of the standard Boater Bug intro, changing the colors around, playing with a smoke element. Really had a lot of fun with the intros for these 2 episodes. I did Betrayal because a couple of the more successful videos from the May of Boater were the board game videos. So I decided to do a couple of board games as well. I put a bit of extra work into Betrayal at House on the Hill. Certainly over the time of doing board games has been a lot of fun, whether it's a multicam edit or something with an overlay. Daytona 500 had a really cool overlay as well that I then mostly copied when I went and did Formula D for the next day's video way back in 2016 for the May of Boater. But those had standard intros, and we're kind of focusing on intros right now. Betrayal at House on the Hill had custom intros and custom laid out title slides as well. But when it came time to do the next full series, when Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic came to a finish at the beginning of 2019, it was time to figure out what the next series was going to be and how to do its intro. So instead of just one photo or trying to get the right photo, I did a full photo set and putting a little more effort into the cosplay. So without further ado, as you hear the music starting as we go into the intro for Boater Plays Something Suikoden 4. I am really, really excited with how that intro came out. It is a totally self-contained piece. Again, the music doesn't start before or afterward, but I put it together. I put together kind of the prototype for it before we went and did the photo shoot, so I knew exactly how many shots we would need. It was cold while we were doing the photo shoot. It was like 20 or something like that, and there I am in shorts and a t-shirt, so I knew how many shots we needed. I knew what kind of shots we wanted to get, and that helped us move a little bit faster. Steph helped out with the costume. That was great. AJ took the actual photos for me. It's fantastic. I can't help but gush over this introduction, and it's one of the reasons why I look back at the green pending cool graphic days and then look at the Suikoden 4 intro, and I love it. And if I had it my way, I would do a photographic intro for every single series. I don't know what the next series of Boater Plays Something is, because Recore and Suikoden 4 are still going strong. Suikoden is just starting, and Recore is doing well as well. I don't know what the next series is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be feasible to do a photographic introduction for it, but I'm really excited. The title slides for this, much as I've been kind of doing custom title slides the whole way, I couldn't really grab them from the introduction because the title of the game of the episode, it was not all together. They were all at separate points. So I needed to take a still frame. And what I ended up doing was rotating the still frames for the title slides. So every 5 episodes, it would loop. I had 5 different title slide templates, and every 5 episodes it would loop, which I learned how to count like that very easily because I've had Animorphs, and every 5 books it would be the same narrator and the same person on the cover. So the title slides kind of follow that, which for the first 15 episodes or so really lined up as far as like, oh hey, here's a silly one, so we'll use the shot of the car, or this is one that really involves the Rune of Punishment, so we'll use the Rune of Punishment intro. It stops after that a bit, but for a while it stayed really relevant how the title slides lined up too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. One other thing that I did with Suikoden was playing with the end screen, what I call the social screen, because back in Mini Ninjas, and even going back to like Boater Plays Something, the end of the episode would just be a really simple splash screen showing social media. And that updated as I added Instagram, and eventually with the advent of end cards in YouTube, I was a little late to the game, but I did end up making an end social screen. And this is what the standard one right now looks like. It just shows thumbnails for all of those. As the video ends, it then goes to the end screen like this. And of course, when it's brought into YouTube and it is made into a proper end screen, it looks more like this, which, for warning, these are not clickable links. I'm just taking a screen capture of my screen so that you can see what I see. So that's kind of the standard end for almost all of my videos. The exception is Suikoden 4, where I did something pretty similar, but I start to bring in the music, which you might hear right now if you're listening, and depending on how long I keep jibber-jabbering. I start to bring in the music, I do the outro, I say, thanks for watching, have a good one, and then with the same music that we had for the introduction, and one of the shots that we got for a photograph, we go to this. And that's it. Introduction screens, and in one case an end screen for Suikoden, and how far we've come over 5 years. I really enjoy making Boater Plays Something. Most of the episodes don't get a whole lot of views. You know, a dozen maybe, fewer. Some of them get a bit more, which is great. But I do it because it's fun, and I enjoy, no matter what I'm doing, improving my craft. So where we started with Pending Cool Graphic, and we moved to Boater Bug with the blue. Along the way, we've had some great custom screens, whether they be photographic ones that I kind of directed and put together, or art that I've gotten from other sources. Boater Plays Something is unique, I think, in the way that I handle introductions. And sometimes it's a standard one, and sometimes it's something neat and funky. And I think that neat and funky, I don't know how many people like it, but I do. At the end of the day, that's what matters, that I enjoy it, that I'm having fun with it. Again, the reason that I'm moving through Suikoden so fast, both in terms of playing and editing, is because I love the introduction. It brings a huge smile to my face when I start editing a new episode and I get to plug that in. You know, figure out the title of the episode as I'm going through and drop it in and render it out from After Effects, bring it over to Premiere, drop it in. It's fun. And hopefully you guys enjoy the introductions as well. Hopefully you enjoy Boater Plays Something. I mean, hopefully you enjoyed this video. This kind of 5-year retrospective of where we've been, and maybe a sign of where we're going. I don't know. I hope that the channel continues to grow. You know, we're at 300 something subscribers. It's not big, but I hope it continues to grow. I hope I continue to have fun, cool ideas for the introductions for Boater Plays Something, for how to you know, utilize screen space when we have something like this that's 4x3. It's fun. Boater Plays Something is fun. I wouldn't still be doing it if it wasn't. And hopefully it's fun for you guys to watch. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately, but it's true. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment below to let me know if you have a favorite episode of Boater Plays Something, or at least a favorite series, what you enjoyed watching the most over these past 5 years. Subscribe if you haven't watched too much Boater Plays Something, but you want to stay here and see more as it comes out. You can follow me over on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.com/BoaterBug. You can support me on Patreon and Ko-Fi.com/BoaterBug, and you can also watch live streams over at Twitch.tv/BoaterBug. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and I hope to see you in the next 5 years.